Hey guys, this is Isaac, loading back into the Technic Let's Play. Now I don't remember exactly where we left off. I think it was just after making the transmutation tablet. We'll see if that is an accurate assumption in just a second. Yes, it was. Alright. So let me just go ahead and load the world in. Now that we have a transmutation tablet, we can begin to have lots of fun with equivalent exchange. So for instance, still got some startup lag. For example, a cobblestone, if I just place it in there, EMC value of 1. EMC is the currency of the equivalent exchange. You can see it says learned, which means that I can now generate cobblestone. And I'll take it back out. No more EMC left, nothing over here. If I put in, say, a charcoal, learns the charcoal, EMC 32, charcoal over here. Put in a coal, EMC 128 learned, and now you see there's also charcoal over here. So if I want, I can take 4 charcoal where I previously had 1 coal. Because like I said, charcoal is considered a weaker resource. So I can put iron in there, it'll learn that. That costs 256. So if I put 256 cobblestone in there, I could take out an iron. I'm not going to do that. Obsidian 64. So I'm just going to go ahead and teach it all of these things, which may be a bit boring. The one thing that I will point out is you may have noticed when I put something like this in there, it says fuel up here and only shows me other fuels. So you cannot convert back and forth between fuel sources like redstone and glowstone and energy sources. Or fuel sources and matter sources, I should say. Once I teach it a couple more things, I'll be able to show you how you can narrow your table's selection. Because once you teach it more than this many items, which is really not that many, how are you going to focus it in? There are ways to, and I'll show those to you. You may have seen that diamond there has value of 24,000. So obviously, diamond pickaxes are pretty high up in the ranking. I will teach it ruby sword. I'll teach it torches. Water bucket's a handy one, actually. Don't need to teach it shovel. Teaching it string could be useful. Okay, what's string's EMC value? Just an example, 12. Okay, so if I go ahead and generate 12 EMC, which I'll do just through cobblestone, I have 8 right there, but I want to get a little bit more, and there's no more spots left. So every time that you click something over here, it draws 1 item from each of these slots. This concept's kind of difficult to explain, but once you start messing around with it, you'll understand it. So there's currently a total of 8 EMC in here, but if I put, say, 4 more in, there's now a total of 12 EMC, but it still says 8 because all these stacks only count 1 of the item. But if I take a cobblestone out, it just drained 8 EMC, 1 from each of these spots, but I only cost 1. So in total it added 7, and then 7 plus the 4 that it can now sense gives me 11. So I put this one back in, that'll be 12. I know that might have been a little confusing, but the more you mess around with it, the more you'll understand that oftentimes you just have to stack items and take items out and then put them back in repeatedly, which helps to teach the table exactly what you're looking for. And the table itself is pretty smart. Like, it'll pick up pretty fairly quickly on what you're going for. I'm going to go ahead and teach it arrow, and then if you put something in the middle here and then put like anything with an EMC value over here, the item you're looking for will always show up. So for example, if I... Where'd my arrow go? Okay. If I put like my diamond pickaxe right here and I'm trying to convert this to something, because I have so few items learned, this is not a perfect example, but you see the arrows right there. The arrow is only worth 14 EMC, and this is worth 24,000. So in a further situation in the game, when I've taught my table more recipes, the things like cobblestone and stone and gravel won't show up here because they're worth so little that converting from 24,000 into literally 24,174 cobblestone is very impractical. So once I've taught my table more things, it'll only give me values which are relatively close to this one. But if I want to force it to give me a value, I can put an arrow here, and then it will only give me things that the arrow could pay for. So you can place items in the middle to narrow your selection. Like I said, I haven't taught it enough yet for that to be a real trouble, but I think I'm actually... Oh yeah, and it can't learn appetite, so if you put it in, it just drops right back out. I think I'm just going to go ahead and eat 2 of my iron to get arrows, because I want some arrows. And it doesn't stack in single player. In multiplayer it does stack. You can shift click, but Yeah, so if I put my arrows here, it will lock this arrow where it is. Alright, got a little bit of starting capital in arrows. I'll take another 2 sticks out. So you can see I just converted those 2 iron bars into a bunch of arrows and 2 sticks. And that's essentially how the equivalent exchange table works. I'm going to go ahead and start up converting to diamonds, because I have a lot of valuable things that I don't really need. Like the tungsten, some of these gemstones, not all of them. And I cannot convert my energy sources yet, so I'll just store them. There is a way to switch back and forth between energy and matter, but we won't get to that for a little while. Get this lapis. I already taught it log. Okay. So yeah, when you first get the table, just take the trouble to teach it everything that you know. And you can see that the EMC value of lapis is very high, although diamond is 8,192, and that's a good benchmark to give yourself early on. Eventually you'll be surpassing that with relative ease, but for now, just make sure that your table knows everything that you could possibly want to build. If there's something that you can never possibly see yourself drawing out, don't bother teaching it, but most things, there's at least some situation where you'd want them. So now that I've taught it more, if I put in... Oh, arrow's still there. I haven't taught it that many in all honesty, but I think you understand the point. Teach it tungsten, and then actually just put stupidly large number of tungsten that I have in here. Yeah, so you can see that I have 131,000, so that's going to be quite a few diamonds, which I'll go ahead and draw out. Right. So now I think you're starting to understand, hopefully, the amount of fun you can have with the equivalent exchange. It's a very, very powerful tool. What on earth am I doing? I cannot stack sapphires and rubies. And I'm a fool for thinking that I could. Like I said, 8 gemstones converts to a diamond. As cool as making stuff out of rubies and sapphires and emeralds are, I have already taught my table all of these things. So, don't have to be afraid of spending all the ones that I currently have, because I can use the table to generate more. And then I don't think that 8 lapis is enough to get a diamond. Maybe it is. Maybe it works out that way. No, not enough. Okay. Well, I can draw out one of these. There we go. Put this back in, split those. Oh, I'm so close. Is this going to get me there? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Sweet. And then I could even take out a couple more torches just to round out my stack. Torches cost 9 EMC, which seems kind of arbitrary to me, but I'm not really complaining. It's not a huge deal. Okay, so I've now gained 30 extra diamonds, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to go ahead and teach my table a lot of recipes with regards to energy, so feel free to follow along. Firstly, I'll just teach it glowstone block, which as you can see has a pretty high fuel value. But there's a lot of fuels we still need to teach it, like nickelite, for example. I'm actually going to convert 2 stacks of nickelite straight into more valuable resources. But firstly, I'll just teach it 1 nickelite, and you can see that's the same value as coal. Nickelite's very, very handy. Alright, so crafting. Take your philosopher's stone, take 4 coal, alchemical coal. It does not consume the stone. Now, going to teach my table alchemical coal, and now that it's learned that, I can put in nickelite and draw out alchemical coal. I'm going to get 4, and I recommend that you do as well. And then, do the same thing you did with coal, only with alchemical coal now. And the stone, and you get Mobius fuel. Mobius fuel is an even higher quality fuel. And all these things you can put in the furnace if you want to, and they do fuel the furnace. There are better things to do with them, though. So we're actually going to try and get to Altarius fuel, which is not exactly how it's pronounced. I forget exactly how it's pronounced, but it's a very high-level fuel. Okay, there we go. And now we're drawing Mobius fuel, back to alchemical. See, exchanges like this can look kind of complicated, because I'm taking from different slots, and different slots are refilling and things like that. But pretty quickly you learn how to sort of play the exchange to get it to give you what you want. And now, take 4 Mobius fuel, Philosopher's Stone, there we go, Alternalist fuel. Alternalist fuel is like the highest quality fuel. It is exactly equivalent to a diamond, only it's fuel. So it's like the fuel equivalent of the matter diamond. These things are cool, and we're going to need them for dark matter. So mostly I just wanted to teach it to my table, because once the table knows it, I can use any energy resource to get myself there. So I'm going to go ahead and store a lot of this stuff. Where's my diamonds? Okay, they're stored. Good. I'm going to go ahead and convert these emeralds into 2 more diamonds. So now you see it just learned emerald. Excellent, excellent. Now I really just need to go get a little bit more resources. Not all that many. Like, I'm pretty close to being able to go back above ground and forget this area for a little while. But, oh, I need to make an alchemy bag. Almost totally forgot that. Glad that I didn't. I think that's coal. Yeah, it's coal. Okay. For a second I thought that was tungsten, which would have been awesome, but no. Yeah, I need to go make an alchemy bag, so that'll be probably the ending of this episode. This episode seems like it's just entirely been crafting recipes and so on, but it's also instructional, which is probably helpful. And I mean, you have been just watching me cave for just about ever, so hopefully this was a refreshing break from that. Nope, not my house. There we go. Okay, what was I going to make? Okay, I need iron. I need wood to make a chest. You need all 3 dusts. The covalence dusts, all 3 levels. Let me go ahead and store all this monster janky nonsense. Chest, iron, you need smooth stone. I think this is everything. Okay. So that's not at all what I wanted. Although I will teach it my other 2 dusts while I'm here. 8, and the lowest one is valued at 1. Excellent. I think I've already taught it. Does it know dirt? Did not know dirt. That's kind of silly. I think it knows all these things, though. Oh, bow. Should probably just teach it bow. 48, not very valuable, but do what you can. Flint and steel, 255. I wonder if you can... What if you put a flint and steel in there and then just converted it to a full health flint and steel? I doubt it lets you do that. I just had that thought, but... Alright, so alchemy chest. Start with a chest. Oh, it also needs a diamond. I forgot. 1 diamond. So I think it looks like this, but I might have to rearrange the items a little bit, so I apologize ahead of time. And then the dusts across the top. No. Like that. There we go. Okay, here's an alchemical chest. Alchemical chests have several cool properties. Shabonk. Firstly, they're just huge, right? I mean, you can also sort them in some cool ways. Part of Technic Pack. If you have what's called the Talisman of Repair, which I'll get shortly, and you put it in here along with the dust and a broken item, it'll use the dust to repair the item, which is kind of cool. So they have their uses, and they're also just good for storage. But we're actually going to shortly be converting it into an alchemy bag. And to do that, I'm going to need... I did teach my table string, I think. So I'm going to try and convert these bones into string. Okay, excellent. Bones are pretty valuable. Bones are a handy resource to spend on whatever you need. And I did just leave some ENC in the table, by the way. I don't recommend doing it, because it makes it really hard if you need to convert back and forth between fuel and matter. Because like right now, it's locked at matter, so I need to spin this 48, and then I could start getting fuel. But I'm actually just going to teach it wool and start getting wool. So I only left the EMC there because I knew that I could use it to buy a wool. And I'm going to go ahead and spin, I guess, 2 more bones, whatever. There we go. Now, the way that you make the alchemical bag is just like this. Alchemy bag. Now, the alchemy bag has several awesome uses. Mostly, it just works like this. Like, you can just open it up as you carry it along with you and open it. If you have a Talisman of Repair, it also repairs items for free. So you can just walk around with this, keep all your broken tools in it, and they'll repair, that sort of thing. That is tungsten. I'll have to go get that. But that aside, you can also dye them, which is really cool. if you just put them in the crafting table with a colored dye that changes their color, and all bags of the same color share an inventory, so you can split your inventory up in funny ways. But I think that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know that we didn't really go anywhere, but I think I'm going to spend a while off camera mining, and then come back as I head to the surface and go and start using my wealth for some pretty cool stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you here next time. Bye, everyone.